Hello and welcome to Voices of the Vic podcast with me, Ben Aiton, and Mike Duffy. We are back with a preview after the international break. England are actually playing tonight at home to Italy, but we've got more important matters. Watford are in a relegation battle, and we are hosting Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday. But yeah, as I say, I'm joined by Mike. Mike, how are you doing, mate? All good your end?
Yeah, good. I'll be glad when this international break is over, mate, because I cannot stand international breaks. I mean, we're recording. It's probably the worst time to record actually for figures because some people might be interested in the international game, and England, as you say, are playing Italy. And I think if we win or draw tonight, as long as we avoid defeat, we qualify. But we qualify for all of the tournaments, but we just never piss and win them. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Saturday. Um, it's going to be an interesting game, that's for sure. And I'm going, which is good. I don't get to go to many games, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm all good, mate. How are you?
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm a bit bunged up at the moment, full of cold. I'm hoping it clears in time for Saturday. But yeah, all good. Thank you, mate. We was just talking before we came on air. Actually, Watford's record against Sheffield Wednesday. So obviously, we all know about Sheffield Wednesday at the moment being bottom of the pile, having Cisco Munoz and getting rid of him. They've now got a new manager, but a little bit encouraged by the form, Mike, of Watford against Sheffield Wednesday. The last 5 games against Wednesday, Watford are actually unbeaten, winning 3 and drawing 2. And Sheffield Wednesday's last victory at Vicarage Road was back in 2013, where they won 1-0 with a Connor Wickham goal. And then I think you said that before that, Sheffield Wednesday didn't win at Vicarage Road until the early 2000s as well. So it's a difficult place for Sheffield Wednesday to come to. But I don't know if you remember them ever coming down to Vicarage Road. They travel in numbers and they've sold out for this game. So it's going to be a big number coming down from Yorkshire. They're going to be a noisy bunch. And it's going to be a difficult game, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And they're going to be a team which is currently going through a new manager bounce. It's never nice facing the team. We're usually the team that people have to face with a new manager bounce. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what James from the Wednesday Till I Die podcast, who's coming on tonight, be interesting to see what he's got to say about Cisco Munoz's time at Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, from the outside looking in, it didn't sound like it was great. Certainly not to the sort of extremes of how he did at Watford. But hey, look, the team he inherited at Watford is a lot different to the team he's inherited at Sheffield Wednesday. So it'll be interesting to see. A team that haven't won a league game yet. They've got 3 points, but those 3 points come from draws. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. This is one, I've said this the last 2 games now, but this is one that we simply have to win. If we don't win this, it's inexcusable. I know we've sat here on the pods previously saying, yeah, the performance is there, but we just can't quite get that, edge and can't quite put the ball in the back of the net. That has to stop soon. We have to put the ball in the back of the net. I don't care if we play shit for the whole 90 minutes, but if we win 1-0, I'm happy. I'm starting to get a bit sick and tired of coming on here and saying, yeah, we played well, though. Got to take the positives. We've got to start putting these results together, and that has to start on Saturday. Three games in a week as well, but it could be a huge week.
That's it. It's 3 games in quick concessions for Watford. So we've obviously got Sheffield Wednesday at home, then Swansea City away, which we're both travelling to as well, which I'm really looking forward to. And then it's Millwall at home afterwards. And you look at these next 3 fixtures, Mike, and you think, cool, 7 points for me minimum out of this. Maybe 6 points I'd be happy with as well. But you've got to pick up 3 points in both of these home games, ideally.
Well, that's it. I'd imagine you've gone with 7 as a minimum there because 2 of them are at home. Yes,
Yeah.
you look at the opposition, but ultimately it's your home games. You're looking to pick up maximum points, regardless of who you're playing. Millwall. We all know full well what Millwall are capable of. They battered us last season at the New Den, and they won at Vicarage Road as well. I think last season. So, we know that they're a team which they're physical. They bullied us. They got in our face last season and the players didn't like it. So it'll actually be interesting this time round. Not to talk too much about that game, but it'll be actually interesting to see if the players have got a bit of balls about them, a bit of cojones, as it was the anniversary of the cojones comment the other day. I rightly reminded my boss, who's an Arsenal fan. But yeah, no, for me, we have to be picking up points, maximum points in these home games, and it is a big week. And look, we could be sitting here next Sunday after said 3 games, and we could be in a lot better place. But I really, really fear for us if we pick up any less than 3 points, or even 3 points out of the next 3 games, won't be acceptable. So, yeah, got to start right on Saturday. Massive, massive game for us, even this early on in the season.
Yeah, well, we've kind of got ourselves into a difficult position, haven't we, Mike, with Watford? Obviously, we've said a few times saying performances are there. It's just not falling for us at the moment. Maybe we've not had that striker getting on the end of things, with too many individual areas at the back costing us goals, and we're losing off the back of those. But sooner or later, it's got to click for this Watford team. Like, I've been encouraged and I've seen signs. Are you still hopeful that it is going to click for Watford, or do you think, strap yourself in, guys, this is going to be a tough whole season?
I think it will still click, absolutely, but this clicking notion it's got to be soon for me. And that sounds ludicrous for me hearing myself say that, because again, it was only a couple of podcasts ago when I was reminding people that, we're only this many games into the season. But the games come thick and fast. We're 11 games in now, and next week we'll have played 3 more. It's absolutely mad, and that is a championship, and so much can change. We're on 9 points. We could be on another 9 come the end of next Sunday. I'm not getting carried away. So that's how crazy and how quick things can change in this league. But yeah, absolutely, I do think it will click. I'll probably get called a happy clapper by a few fans for what I'm about to say, but I'm very encouraged by the video that the social media team put out with Bio. He knows what he needs to work on. He knows, and he cares. You can see he cares and just wants to play football. And for me, I could sit here and talk about Bio, which we have done on previous pods, but for me, he's someone that cares. He wants to play. He's trying his hardest. And unfortunately, at the moment, his hardest isn't good enough. He's on 4 goals, our joint top goal scorer with Matthias Martins, I believe. And he probably should be on bloody 14 goals, if you count all the chances he should have put away. So, yeah, it's frustrating at the moment, but I do firmly believe there will be one team and we'll click. Obviously, that game wasn't the first game of the season. That wasn't a good bar to sort of set it at. That just showed where QPR are sort of at this season and how poor they were as opposed to how good we were. So, yeah, no, of course, I'm still confident and I'll still back us. And I know a lot of people will disagree with this, but I don't for 1 minute think we'll go down, purely because I think there are 3 worse teams than us. I'm not going to name those because I'm not here to do that, and they'll probably come back to bite me on the arse. But yeah, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, no, definitely. I do agree with you as well. I do think there's 3 worst teams in this championship this season, but I understand where all the worries coming from for Watford fans as well. Obviously, I think we just need to reset our expectations as a fan base. I think a lot of people think the ceiling's a lot higher than what it should be. I think we just need to take a bit of a dose of reality and be like, come on, we're Watford, we're a small town club. Yes, we overachieved in the Premier League for 5-6 years, and it's like we're a championship club. We're a size of we're a town, aren't we? So it was fantastic to have those years in the Premier League, and don't get me wrong, I would have bit your hand off if it was offered to us that we'd still be in there. But obviously things haven't gone in our direction. It's been mismanaged as well by the hierarchy, and we all know the stories all behind that. But I think we just need to lower our expectations. And like we've all said before on this podcast, Mike, we all wanted a rebuild. rebuilds take a few transfer windows. I think we've been very fortunate that we've been able to ship out 20 plus players in the summer. So we've got a lot of deadwood out of the sides. But it's going to take a few transfer windows, Mike, for us to be able to maybe start that road of recovery and push up the table. Is that what you tend to agree on as well?
Yeah, of course it is. Whenever a team goes through a rebuild like this, it's that old cliche, that old saying, isn't it? Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take a few transfer windows. Obviously, the news surrounding how things are going at the moment, all this stuff with Manga and Gioretta and the Bilic interview, which Andrew French did, which was brilliant. If you've not read it, by the way, go and read it. That does spell sort of worry. The first time it sounds like we're backing a manager in the transfer window, and we're going straight to the manager saying, right, what type of player do you want, or what position do you want? Like, you go and find a player, and then we'll do the negotiation sort of thing. So, and then we bring in this scouting team from one of the best sort of scouting networks in Europe, and they've Frankfurt. We bring them over and we effectively don't use them. So it's almost like, well, what the hell is going on there? But listen, that's another can of worms for another day. But of course, it's going to take time. I think this season was all about making sure that everything is right, and we're backing the manager, and the players are showing fight again for once. And then next season, I'm sure the plan was, right, let's have a solid transfer window and let's have a good bloody run at it, because ultimately we want to be back in the Premier League. But I absolutely agree with what you just said, Ben. I think that five season spell in the Premier League has maybe heightened expectations of certain Watford fans. And listen, I want my team to be in the best league in the world, which Premier League. Those 5 years where we were there was absolutely tremendous. And, I hate, the Championship's great and everything, but I want my team to be in the Premier League. But I think we just need to lower expectations and just want to see players fighting for the badge at the moment, Ben. That's ultimately what we want at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same page there. So all we're asking for Watford fans is not to overreact at the moment. Lower your expectations. It is a massive rebuild, and we just need to get behind the team. Let's not turn on them. If Wednesday score within the first couple of minutes on Saturday, don't get on the players' back. This team, it's a young team. There's lots of new players. We need to get behind them and encourage them, and hopefully we'll see that from the fan base going onto the pitch. But yes, as we mentioned at the start of the show, this is a Sheffield Wednesday preview, and we do have a guest lined up. I'm just going to enter in James now. James, thank you very much for joining tonight. So you're part of the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us, Ben, Mike. Always great to chat to the opposition. And even though what's going on at Sheffield Wednesday at the moment isn't great, although it could be on the up, because, we're feeling, for a team that's not won a game all season and only got 3 points, we are looking more optimistic about this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's a good time for you probably to play Watford as well. But we'll jump straight into it. It's so last season you tasted playoff success after beating Barnsley in the playoff final. How would you sum up last season?
A roller coaster, I think, is probably the easiest way to sum it up. January time, I think most Wednesday fans would have said we're going to win the league. We were going great guns in the league so far, and everything we're looking rosy. We're a tremendous long unbeaten run. In that we're beating Newcastle at Hillsborough, which were a fantastic result, and things were looking great. We then played Barnsley at their place and lost 4-2, and the wheels kind of well and truly fell off from that point. You get beat. It was the first defeat that we'd had in, I think, 25 games or whatever it was. And then you think, well, what a game to bounce back from your first defeat by playing bottom of the league, Forest Green Rovers, who had not won a game under their new manager, Darren Ferguson. Enter Sheffield Wednesday, and we lost that game 1-0 on Sky. And like I said, Ipswich and Plymouth just went great guns, and our wheels fell off of the season. And it looked a bit, from all the positivity that we had, it looked really, really gloomy, to be fair. Quite a lot of Wednesday fans thought that's it, it's not going to happen. And then, of course, we have, we get into the playoffs. We, picked up a little bit of form come the end of the season. And yeah, Peterborough, I was there at London Road in the first leg, 4-0 defeat. It was one of the worst performances I'd seen all season. We'd got fans, fighting with each other in the stands, disagreeing with everything. And it was a horrible drive back from Peterborough. But then, you fast forward 4 or 5 days and we're going in hope rather than expectation in the home match. And I'm sure quite a lot of people listening, if they didn't watch it live, they certainly saw all the highlights after, coming back from 4 goals down in what is probably the best game of football I've ever witnessed, to have actually been there when we did that. It was a miracle, really. And, not many miracles happen in football, but there was certainly a miracle at Hillsborough. And then to follow that up with, 123rd minute winner at Wembley, what a way to finish off the season. If you could guarantee that you're going to win in the playoffs, it is the best way to go up. I mean, the game of football was awful. I'm not going to lie. It was horrible being there from a footballing perspective, but from an atmosphere and, that moment when Josh Windass scored that header again, it's a memory that'll live in the lifetime for any Wednesday fan that was there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I just want to take you back to that playoff semi-finals against Peterborough, like the emotions of that first leg, especially, and then the second leg. I think Watford's playoff moment against Leicester is quite a thrilling moment. But I think Sheffield Wednesday have probably picked Watford to that now because of just the pure emotion and the comeback story of it as well. Like, everyone wrote off Sheffield Wednesday, but not Darren Moore, not the players. Darren Moore basically said to the players, "You've scored X amount of home goals this season. If you get the early goals, you've got a chance of winning it." And I think that team talk in the changing rooms probably won you the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's he was bang right, to be fair. I don't think there was anyone that really believed that we could do it. And I think even Josh Windass said himself that he didn't believe that we could do it either, which is, is understandable. How many teams come back from 4 goals down? And it was one of those where, in the days leading up to it, everyone's thinking, you know what, yeah, if we get the early goal, if we go 2-0 up before half time, we've probably got a chance. Obviously, that happened. We got a goal inside 10 minutes. We scored the second before half time. And then there was a bit of a, if I'm being perfectly honest, it took us too long to get that third goal. But then when that third goal went in, you're thinking, we can do it. But, time was running out. And then, obviously, yeah, I think I must have played that goal, the fourth goal, far too many times, to be honest. And the commentary from that, the Sky Sports commentary is not great. I think I think it might be ESPN or someone like that. That commentary is far better. And yeah. To get it back to 4-4 in the 96th minute or whatever it was just unbelievable. And the scenes in the crowd, because obviously the momentum shifted. It went, when it's 4-3 and time's ticking away, they're all singing that they're going to Wembley and all this, that, and the other, and everyone's thinking, we gave a good go, but we were never really going to do it. And then, yeah, to score that goal. I mean, Johnson Clark-Harris must be having nightmares because his clearance was absolutely dreadful. All he needed to do was clear the ball, and he kicks it straight to Barry Bannon. And yeah, Johnson clips it in, Flint heads it down, and the ball's bundled in the back of the net. And obviously, yeah, you can see there, Liam Palmer, Wednesday through and through. For him to score that goal as well, it was just fitting. And I think people forget as well that we actually went. We went another goal down in extra time and had to come back again. People forget about that. Again, it was one of those moments where, you've got it back to 4-4 and you concede and you just think, look, it's not going to be our day. But then penalties, and I think the way the whole day went, there was no other winner than us, really. And it's very difficult to say that as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, because us and penalty shootouts never really end very well, to be fair.
It's quite interesting you mentioned there about the Peterborough fans singing about going to Wembley when it was 4-3. I'll never forget going to Leicester in the playoffs, and they beat us 1-0 after the first leg and were singing about Wembley. And I thought, come on. Really?
Well, to be fair, it might be like, you know, when you boys were singing that you were going to win the league and everything back in 2015, and then Aiton steps up with a last minute.
I was wondering how long. What's that? 8 minutes? That took 8 minutes. Yeah. So you came back up to the Championship, second time of asking. You couldn't quite do it the first time round. Things seemed sort of all rosy, you know, just being promoted back to the Championship. It's just about the season's just about to start, and then Darren Moore leaves. Like, what the hell happened there, basically?
Yeah, it was an absolute shocker, that one. Totally out of the blue. You know, we beat Barnsley. Obviously, we're already on the back foot from compared to the other teams. They've all got the pre-season, not underway, but their preparations are well underway. They know what league they're going to be in. So we're already on the back foot. Then they have 2 weeks holiday, which obviously they're all entitled to, having had a fantastic season. And then they come back off their holidays, and next minute there's a club announcement that Darren Moore's left, which was to everyone, really, not only the Wednesday fans. I think everyone in the footballing world were a bit like, what? Yeah, you just got promoted to the Championship, and your manager's leaving. Now, obviously, everything came out after the Darren Moore were greedy and he'd asked for too much money. That Darren Moore said that the ambitions didn't line up, which I probably want to believe Darren Moore rather than Chansiri. When you look at the money that he was reportedly asking for, it's probably just in line with what an average Championship manager is asking for. And at the end of the day, he'll be a Championship manager, and I think the squad's more than capable to be an average Championship team, to be fair. So I don't think that was too untoward. But yeah, loads of things came out after, very unprofessional from the chairman, which is what we come to expect really from Dejphon Chansiri. He's very much that person, and when you've got more club statements this season than you have points, although to be fair, the last game put us on a par with it. I think 3 statements and 3 points this season, and when you're 11 games in, that's quite impressive, to be honest. But yeah, it was mental. Look, Darren Moore did divide the fan base. I'm not going to sit here and say that he didn't. I was a big fan of his. I'm not going to lie. I think the football wasn't great, but it served a purpose, and he did what we needed to do. I think the first season we tried to play better football. That didn't quite work. The second season we just needed to get out of the league, and we signed League One players, which probably a little bit to our detriment. I think we had better players in the first season, but we just got League One, and by that I mean the Gillinghams came to town, the Morecambes, Accrington, and just shithousers and just defended, put 11 men behind the ball, and we didn't really have the quality to break them down or do the dirty work. Whereas last season we had players that could do that. So yeah, I think after what happened and everything, I think most people would have just accepted Darren Moore to have a season, have a go. We're probably going to finish, mid-table or bottom half, but clear of relegation, and everyone would have took that. And if at that point then we kind of departed and went our separate ways, and we brought another manager in, I don't think anyone would have kind of said that would be the wrong thing to do either. So yeah, but it certainly came as a shock, and I think. Obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I think everyone then thought it were a crazy thing to do, and even more so now.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, well, you're not the only people to get rid of a manager when he got promoted. We did that with Slavisa Kanovic, but I think that was because he asked for a lot more money than we perhaps thought he was worth. But yeah, welcome to the club. The next man in the door was someone that we know very well and we absolutely love. Sort of understand from a tactical point of view. He's not quite the man that you want in charge. I think we were saying before you come on that he very much inherited a Premier League ready side at Watford, and that obviously helped him massively. You appointed Xisco Munoz. What was your initial thoughts on the appointment? Because obviously you can't have known much about him other than the fact he got Watford promoted, because We didn't know who the bloody hell he was before he come through the door, so I don't expect anyone else to know, to be honest.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. That was exactly it. That's all we knew. And to be fair, we were holding on to that hope that, everyone was saying, well, he knows the Championship and he's got promoted out of the Championship back into the Premier League. So he's got a bit of pedigree about him. There was a lot of reservations. The things like he's never been at a club for longer than a full year, a full calendar year. Obviously, it wasn't at Watford for a full season, and obviously left before he could complete the following season. So that was a worry. And his 3 other clubs that he's managed, other than Watford, he'd done exactly the same at as well. He'd gone to a poor Cypriot league and, again, not done a great deal there either. All right, I know you can say that the players might not be good enough, but he'd not really pulled up any trees, and he just came out of the blue. To be honest, that he'd been appointed. I think he put on his Instagram that he were on his way, and I think the eagle-eyed people had noticed that he'd followed the official Sheffield Wednesday Instagram account. I mean, it just for people listening, by the way, that is how we find out all our signings in the transfer in the transfer window. Basically, the chairman's son at Chansiri, if he follows a footballer on Instagram, we're going to sign him, basically. So that's all we do. No point listening to the local journalists. Just go on Instagram and have a look at who he's following and who his recent followers are, and yeah, you literally, that is what happens. So we knew something was happening, and then lo and behold, he signed, and yeah, there was a lot of it wasn't a signing that everyone was excited about. I mean, look, you always try and get as excited as you possibly can because you always look for the positives. But I think quite a lot of people were just thinking, why couldn't we just carry on with Darren Moore? I don't see what the problem was, but it didn't start off great in pre-season. The signings that he's made, they weren't great either. I mean, we'll probably talk about a certain person that we've signed on loan from yourselves. That I hope that, I mean, I don't think he can play on Saturday, but I hope he's named in the squad so that we can just leave him when we come back from Vicarage Road on Saturday. To be fair, because he is god awful. But yeah, it didn't start off great. The middle wasn't great, and the ending was abysmal.
So you find yourself bottom of the league with 3 points after 11 games. 3 points of those all came from draws, and now you found yourself with a new manager. Where did it all go wrong from Munoz, or was it when he signed that dotted line, becoming Sheffield Wednesday manager? Was the writing on the wall as soon as he was appointed, knowing what happened in the summer? You getting rid of a manager that's just got you promoted, that the fans were respected because he obviously got you up, but it was always going to be a hard ask for him to take that job, wasn't it?
Yeah, do you know what it was? Is I think. What he did is he just tore everything up from last season. So high, the positivity of the football club was through the roof from, obviously everything I've already spoken about. He then, like I said, just tore that all up and chucked it away and did everything. We're in a new league, we've got a new manager, and then he decides to kind of play a whole new different style of play with new players as well, which it's just trying to change far too many things. I'll come out and watch now that Chansiri wasn't really enamoured by the way that we were playing last season under Darren Moore, and I think obviously that's been spoken to Cisco, and he's thinking, well, I can't just play the same way. I've got to change it. I mean, Cisco throws Marvin Johnson out the team. Now, look, Marvin Johnson isn't the answer to all our problems. He's one of probably the most frustrating footballers that we've got in terms of watching him actually play, but he comes up with the numbers. He chips in with quite a few goals, and he also creates a lot of chances as well. Right, he might need 4 or 5 crosses, one in. And obviously last season, the last 2 seasons, we did have a lot of the ball and did create a lot, but he just throws him out of the squad. Just didn't play him. Both him and Reece James as well. Now, Marvin Johnson, he didn't even name in the 25-man squad. We've only got 24 men named in that squad, and Marvin Johnson's not even on the list. So throws him out. He went off to Dubai to train, which is mental. He wasn't even training with the players either. Wasn't even training with the first team. Something's obviously clearly happened. And then we're playing a right winger on the left at left wing back when we've got a left-sided player that can more than capable of playing there, and you're not winning games either. So it was just that was another thing that didn't go down very well. Now, obviously, we don't know all the ins and outs of that, but that's not gonna. There are other players, Marvin Johnson is a first team player. He's been in that squad for the past 2 seasons. He was there. He set up the goal for the at Peterborough when we scored that equaliser. So he's been a massive part of all that team. And then for him to be frozen out and treat the way that he has been, the rest of the players they're not gonna like that. It's not gonna go down well. And you could just tell that. I mean, all his tactics were all totally wrong. I could tell in pre-season. I mean, we didn't win one game under Cisco. Well, sorry, I tell a lie. We won one in pre-season, which was against Chesterfield. Now, Chesterfield play in the National League. So that says it all. I can remember watching some of the games in Spain and the training camp, and didn't even have a shot on goal. I mean, I know it's only pre-season, but that's when you're trying out these new things. We certainly knew how not to play in pre-season, but we just continued that in the season, and there was no green shoots. There was nothing that you saw from the way that we were playing where you thought we could win this game. Not one of them. We were probably unlucky to lose against Cardiff. We conceded a last-minute penalty and lost that one. You could have said we could have got a point there. We drew against Leeds, and to be fair, we did well to hold on. But if we'd have lost that game, it wouldn't have been a surprise. We've been absolutely awful this season. It has been terrible. There's so many people that have, we've gone from such a high in May. We're not even at the end of the year. We're not even at Halloween yet, and people had just had enough. And people I know that just got a season ticket and didn't even want to go to watch the football. It was that bad. We were 2-0 down against Sunderland after 10 minutes, I think it was. People were walking out already. They were like fire drill at Hillsborough. People walking out and had enough. Honestly, it has been absolutely abysmal. And yeah, the writing was on the wall. I think he went 3 games too late, to be fair. He should have gone after the Swansea game, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, I couldn't help but feel sorry for him. I mean, like I say, he was very lucky with this Watford side, and I think since we've sort of heard on podcasts and various other ex-player interviews that he very much was. He will do the team talk and name the starting 11, whereas the players sort of decide amongst themselves how they're going to play it out. So it was very much of, right, here's a Premier League squad ready to sort of fire you to the Premier League, go and have a run at it. And to be fair to him, Ben, we probably both agree with this. It took him a while to get going with Watford, didn't it? It wasn't till that Bristol City game where we absolutely battered them 6-0. Up until then, I remember that game against Coventry, that god-awful game, and there were fans sort of saying, if I'll take a loss if it means Cisco goes. So, he doesn't, and we had to get special dispensation for him to manage in the Premier League, the very few games that he did, because he didn't have the correct coaching badges. So, that doesn't fill you with massive confidence. But, of course, can't help but feel sorry for him. And,
to be fair, I think he got his coaching badges off wish.com because he's like I said, he's awful. It's mad how I can talk to you guys and you've got high praise for him, because talk to any Wednesday fan and he's the worst Sheffield Wednesday manager in history. We were creating history last season and we've just continued to create history now. He goes down as having the worst start to any Sheffield Wednesday season in the history of the football club, and he's also the worst manager with the worst record as well. I mean, we had Tony Pulis. He only won 1 game and he lasted 10 games as well. Cisco couldn't even win that 1 game. It's awful.
That would have been guaranteed to be us, that 1 game, if he would have won. By the way, I don't get to go to many games because I live up north now, and I'm going on Saturday. And part of the reason was I was looking forward to a bit of a reunion. Welcome Munaf back to Vicarage Road, but not to be, unfortunately. Instead, there'll be a new man in the dugout. You've got Danny Rawl. I think I've pronounced that right, probably.
Yeah.
He's the new man in charge. It's actually his first managerial spell. He's mainly been an assistant manager at Germany, RB Leipzig, Southampton, and Bayern Munich, if my research is correct. And also, as well, he's now the youngest manager in the EFL because he's only 34. Do you know much about him, having done any research yourself? And are you? I know the bar is quite low, but are you confident he can do the task at hand of winning football games? I'd imagine that's how low the bar is now, right?
Do you know what? Like I said, you're absolutely right. Like, he doesn't have to do a great deal in order to be any better than what we've had previously. And I think, yeah, and again, initially when it was first kind of rumored that he was going to be joining, we've done exactly the same as everyone else. Gone on Wikipedia and found that he didn't even have a Wikipedia page, so that wasn't a great start where you're looking at who your next manager's going to be. But obviously, you do a bit of digging, and you're right. He started at RB Leipzig. I think got a bad injury when he was younger, so he started there. I think it was 2010, so a good 13 years ago now. So it would have been early 20s when he got that injury, and it was the video analyst for the youth team at RB Leipzig, and then he's worked his way up. Then he was the assistant manager, and then he went into the first team doing the same video analyst role. Then he moved up to assistant manager for the first team. I mean, he's worked with some fantastic managers as well. Ralf Rangnick when he was at RB Leipzig. Then Hasenhüttl took over. Hasenhüttl then got the job at Southampton, took him with him. And then when he was there, obviously Southampton were struggling in the Premier League at the time, and I think they ended up finishing 12th or 13th, I think, in the end. He actually left before they got spanked. Is it 8-0 against Leicester? I think, and some people were attributing, the decline in the form because Danny Röhl left. He got asked to become the Bayern Munich assistant manager with Hansi Flick, I think it was. So yeah, obviously he's never going to turn that job down. And then Flick gets the job whilst he's at Bayern, he wins the Champions League, which, I mean, look, it's a fantastic achievement to do that, along with the Bundesliga, of course, which Bayern Munich seem to win every single year. And then, Flick gets the national job at Germany. And again, he could have stayed with Nagelsmann at Bayern Munich, but he chose to follow Hansi Flick to the German national side. Obviously, it didn't work out too well for him there. But I mean, just to those managers that you've named, obviously, yes, he's not had a full-time managerial job, which is a little bit of a concern. You always think, you always look to the experience and you think, are they able to do that? But the players that he's worked with, Manuel Neuer, Lewandowski, just two to name, who are absolutely quality world-class footballers, as well as others that they've got as well. The fact that you can learn from the top quality managers that you work with, it's only can only be seen as a positive. And I've already seen just with he's saying all the right things. I mean, they've put a video out of a training session that they've been doing. He's already talking about, don't stand off them. You've got to be, pressing, and you can hear him saying that and everything else. So it looks, it's an exciting appointment. Everyone looks at Ipswich at the moment with Kieran McKenna, and everyone thinks, I want a Kieran McKenna. This could be our Kieran McKenna. Look, it might not work. I think we can't get too ahead of ourselves. End of the day, it's Sheffield Wednesday that we're talking about, and a team that's not won a game all season and 7 points adrift at the bottom of the league. It's a tough ask. I liken it to if you play a football manager and you go on those challenges, I feel like Sheffield Wednesday will be in one of those challenges. Bottom after 10 games. Can you keep the team up that's 7 points adrift after the first 10 games of the season? And maybe that was his inspiration. Maybe he's done a few of those challenges on Football Manager, and he thinks, well, I can do it. I'll do it on there. I can do it in real life as well. So you never know. But no, there's a lot of optimism around the place at the moment, and it's just great to see, because there's been absolutely none previously.
Might sound like a silly question, but who should we look out for from a Wednesday's team this weekend, other than Ashley Fletcher, of course, because we all know how gifted of a footballer that he is.
In terms of who we're looking out for, can you still hear me, by the way, and see me? And
yeah, you can still hear you.
Yeah. It's just frozen, but in terms of the players to look out for, I mean, Barry Bannon is an obvious one. He's everyone knows what Barry Bannon can do. He's a fantastic footballer. He has been injured for the past couple of games, but he'll be looking to go straight back into the side on Saturday, I would have thought. Another one of the new signings that we made was Deshaun Bernard. We signed him from Manchester United from their youth academy. Jamaican international, played for the national side. In the recent games this weekend. He's a defender. He's only young. He's only 23 years old. He's one that can not only he's good on the ball, but he can drive out of defence, and certainly the modern centre back, I would say, very intelligent on the ball. Another one to probably look out for is George Byers. He's been with us coming up to 3. I think it's his 3rd season now with us, and he's brilliant. He just gets it with the fans. A real fan's favourite. If he scores, you'll see his little salute that he does to the fans. And I've been known a few times to be, as a grown man, saluting a footballer on a football pitch, and you think to yourself, "What am I doing?" But that's what George Byers gives you. I suppose another one is he didn't play the other last week, with the caretaker manager in charge, but the goalkeeper Deves Vasquez, he's on loan from AC Milan. He's never played for AC Milan, but obviously they've got a vast squad. But he's again, the modern goalkeeper, great with his feet. He always looks like he's going to get himself in a bit of trouble, but always seems to get out of that trouble, quite easily. I think he's been a bit unlucky this season. Obviously, the football we've been playing has been poor, and he has been having to face quite a lot of shots. He's great at shot stopping. Coming out for crosses isn't fantastic, but he's certainly he could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for him. Let's just put it that way.
This question might be a little bit easier for you. What areas can Watford exploit? I know, obviously, people might be watching this thinking, Mike, are you really asking the team who are bottom of the league and haven't won yet what areas they can exploit? But some might be more obvious than others. So is there an area where you're thinking, shit, if Watford really click onto this, then we're fucked?
Do you know what? We didn't press whatsoever. I think in terms of the rankings for pressing, we were I think we're joint bottom, or certainly bottom 3 when you look at passes per defensive action. We just sit off teams and just invite you onto us, which never bodes very well. We were playing very narrow, extremely narrow, in fact, and playing very much within ourselves. The players looked scared to even do anything under Cisco Munoz, and I've heard that we didn't even work on shape until for about half an hour the night before, the day before the game, which is awful. Didn't even look at what the opposition did either. Did no sort of analysis or anything like that. So we're going into Saturday's game not really knowing how we're going to play, to be honest. I've absolutely no idea. I think we are going to play a pressing game. I think I've looked, and to be fair, you would probably prefer us not to do that and sit off you, because you do kind of struggle against those sides that let you have the ball a little bit. I think you prefer it when they to play around the press, but I think that's what we're going to have to do, and I think it'll be a welcome change for us, to be honest, to actually do that. But like I said, the honest answer is I've really no idea, because it can't be any worse than what it's been previously. One thing I would say is if you get the first goal, if we are going to continue in the same form that we've been on at the moment, then it'll be a guaranteed 3 points for you, because we're not going to come back. However, like I said, again, it's different with a new manager bounce. Hopefully he's instilled a bit of confidence into the team, and it is a bit of a reset, because it's a new manager. The fans are optimistic, which is crazy considering we've like I said, we haven't even won a game all season so far.
Will you be travelling down on Saturday, James?
I'm not travelling down, but Liam and Jack, who I do the podcast with, they'll be going down. There wasn't until obviously we appointed a new manager last Friday. Up until that point, they weren't going, and then all of a sudden, the new manager. I've seen a few press conferences. They've managed to. I mean, the tickets were already sold out by that point, but we've got as means of getting some tickets, and they've sorted that out. So they'll be heading down on Saturday, and and fingers crossed coming away with 3 points.
Fantastic. I heard you only sold 10 tickets when Munoz was manager. As soon as he
Do you know what?
He sold out.
No, do you know what? Even with him there, we still sold out. We sell out
You're a
all
big
our
fan, mate.
allocations everywhere. Even as a season ticket holder, you can't even get a ticket for the away games. No matter where that is. Well, I think Plymouth might be a bit of a stretch. That's on a Wednesday night, which is a long journey. Both games against Plymouth are on midweek as well, so we've the return leg's not favourable either, even for them. But no, we're always well travelled, always take a lot, and obviously this season it's we've had 2 seasons out of the Championship, so there's a lot of grounds that people want to tick off again, and Vicarage Road being one of them.
Yeah, I always remember when you come to Vicarage Road, there's never an empty seat. You always sell out, and you're always very loud as well. Let's go for a score prediction for Saturday's game. What do you reckon?
Well, we've got to win a game at some point. I think, if you'd have asked me this question a couple of weeks ago, then it would be probably a 4-0 defeat, probably. I think, there's a lot more optimism around the place. I think if there's a game that we're going to need to win, you've got to, if we're going to survive this season, we've got to win the teams that are down there and around us. We've got 3 games coming up. We've got yourselves, we've got Plymouth, as I've mentioned, in midweek, and then we've got Rotherham on Sunday as well. So 3 games against teams that are struggling this season. We've just played Huddersfield again, another struggling side. Picked up a point there, but you know what? It's got to be the new manager bounce, and it's got to be a 2-0 win to Sheffield Wednesday, I think.
Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I just want to say before I give my prediction, I did listen to Do Not Scratch Your Eyes earlier, and James, I know you're on that. There's going to be no dogs predicting scores or no backgammon or anything like that. It is literally a straight up score prediction. So,
do you know what? That I don't know if you've posted the video as well, but I was perplexed to say the least. They actually thought that my camera had froze because my face was just like, what the hell am I watching at this moment in time? But, look, I'll go with a backgammon score of 5-0. That would be fantastic.
I know, yeah. Yeah, we've got to have words with John Parzo there. I don't know if you saw that, Ben, but John Parzo pulled out a 5-0. But no, the lads over at Do Not Scratch Your Eyes are cracking lads, and it has me in hysterics. And even the away fans' reactions, it kills me. But of course, Ben, I mentioned at the top before James joined that the new manager bounce really scares me, and they always travel well in numbers. And how things are going with us at the moment, I do worry if they get that first goal, things could get a bit toxic at the Vic. And, momentum will be with them, and the wind will be really behind their sails. So I do worry about that. I'm going to be a bit optimistic, though. I think there'll be goals. I'm going to go with a 3-2 Watford win. I think Vacuum Bio will make amends for the last couple of weeks. I think he's going to get on the score sheet this week. And I think Rajovic is due a goal as well, because he's had some absolute stinkers recently. And then I will go... in fact, I'm going to go with Spreer as well. Spreer's, been unlucky this season not to have played from the start more. So, I'm going to go 3-2, but it's going to be a close, cagey affair. But to be honest, Ben, I don't care how we play at the moment. We need to start picking up results, because I know Ismail's just signed a contract extension, but you can't help but feel a bit twitchy with the board, can you? What about you, Ben? How are you feeling going into this?
Well, I think the best thing for Watford was to stop the rut last week against Cardiff. We couldn't have lost that and gone into the international break. So I think getting a point away at Cardiff, where they've got one of the best home records in the Championship, it's brilliant. And we should have won that game. We had the chances. It's just our strikers weren't firing. I say strikers, it was Vacuum Bio, but I'm not going to slate him, because I do like his work rate is incredible for this team. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 Watford win. I don't think there'll be many goals in it. I think there'll probably a goal in each half. And I'll go for Vacuum Bio and Mateus Martins. I think Martins would just do his trademark play over on that left-hand side, cutting on his right and it in. He scored 3 times this season, all from it. So I'm expecting that again this Sunday, Mike. Saturday, even.
Yeah. No, you'll be waiting a long time if you wait for Sunday, Ben. But you've already mentioned it, to be honest, James. I don't know why I'm going to give you an open goal here, but we always ask fans of memories of the two teams. So it's obvious which one you're going to say, but have you got any memories of Watford, Sheffield Wednesday that really stick out in your mind?
Yeah, it has to be that one back in 2015, doesn't it? Really, where your promotion party, championship winners and all that lot, to go there and and score. I mean, the limbs in that away end when that goal went in, it was almost like we'd been promoted that season. To be fair, to actually got that late equaliser and ruined it. It's not the first time we've done that either. I remember as a few years before that. Away at Portsmouth, and they could have been crowned champions in that game, and Michael Reddy scored in a 1-0 win. Again, spoiling their promotion party. So we've got previous for doing that, but no, that one definitely has to stick in there, and not obviously not one between the two sides, but a player that we've had from himself, because we've had a few. Has to be Fernando Forestieri. What a player he was for Sheffield Wednesday. And when people talk about like the best 11s, certainly kind of post 2000 anyway, without the Premier League years that we've had, Fernando Forestieri is probably one of the first names that people would actually pick on their team sheet. What a fantastic player he was, and scored some wonderful goals. One against Norwich stands out for me.
Norwich was unbelievable. He had no right to hit it from there. Absolutely no right.
Yeah, it ended a bit poorly, really. Should have perhaps sold him when we had the chance. We didn't. We rejected the bids, and then he kind of spat the dummy out a little bit and refused to play. So it didn't end great. But on his day, it was unstoppable.
Yeah, you were a big fan of his, weren't you, Ben?
Yeah, one of my favourite Watford players, and we've obviously been in the Premier League and had better quality players than Fernando Forestieri, but I just loved his magic. Like we called him Fessy, because he was like the nearest player that you could maybe find to Leon and Messi. The way he just weaved in and out, the ball was so close to him, but players just couldn't get it off him. And I actually named one of my wedding tables after Fernando Forestieri back in the summer. And I absolutely loved him. I've met him a couple of times. Really nice guy. Couldn't understand me, but lovely guy. But I think he went over to Malaysia in the end, didn't he? I think he just won a title over there.
Yeah, he's absolutely tearing it up in Malaysia. I think he's like got a goal a game or something ridiculous. He's loving it over there. But no, what a player, and a lot better than what Alman Abdi was for us anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I was listening to it earlier on the other podcast, and it's just madness, to be honest, because he was sunny house for us, one of the most talented midfielders that we've had. It's certainly my time since the early 2000s. But listen, you get players like that, don't you? They're amazing for one club and then go somewhere else and they're shit, aren't they? But I'm trying to think any sort of memories. I mean, we've had some good wins at Hillsborough over the last sort of few seasons. I seem to remember one. Was it under Sanino, Ben? I think we won 3-0 there. I know Troy Deeney didn't. Troy score? No, Troy didn't get a hat trick there. There was a really cheeky finish where he looked like he was going to welly it, but then he just literally poked it past Chris Kirkland. I think Kirkland was in goal that game. That's probably my memory.
Yeah, probably another one would be at Hillsborough when we played in the League Cup, I think 2000, 2001, I think it was, where Matt Hamshaw scored a goal and he ran from his own, I think, certainly from his own half, like nearly the full length of the pitch, and slotted it away. That was back. It must have been called the Worthington Cup back then, or maybe the Carling Cup.
I was only 6 years old, so
quite a while ago, that one.
Yeah, Ben, you got one.
Mine would be the 3-0 victory at Hillsborough back in 2014. It was Jukanovic's first game in charge. I think Igalo, Vidra, and possibly Abdi scored. But it was my first time at Hillsborough as well, so I was really looking forward to it. Long old drive up there. I couldn't believe how big it was, and to see a performance like that. But it was so impressive as well, because it was totally different from what we saw under Sanino, under Garcia, under McKinley. I think it was the fourth manager of the season, wasn't he, at that point, for Watford? And the style of play was just so impressive. And yeah, that's a really impressive victory, and yeah, probably my favourite against Sheffield Wednesday. But James, thanks for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. But before we let you go, we like to play a little game with the Opposition podcast, and I think you've obviously had the helping hand from our friends at Do Not Scratch Your Eyes yesterday, obviously talking about
no pressure
players and Sheffield Wednesday players. So we like to play a game called Play for Both. So I'd say no pressure, because you've already named a few already tonight. But can you name me some players that have represented both Watford and Sheffield Wednesday? We've got a leaderboard, so we ask everyone who comes on, and for the leaders at the moment is 3 players. So we've got Dana from the Borough Breakdown podcast and Jamie from the Blue Focus podcast. Both of them have named 3 players. So can you name more than 3 players? I imagine you can. You've definitely probably named 3 or more tonight already. So yeah, the floor
Go on
is yours.
then. So obviously, for this Fernando Forestieri, Daniel Pudil, Alman Abde, I think the one mentioned yesterday, Carlton Palmer actually played for Watford as well. Can we have managers? Because we've got to have Cisco Munoz there, if that one counts. Trying to think of more that have played for Watford. I'm probably drawing a little bit of a blank, to be honest.
I'm surprised you've mentioned him tonight. Not to give too many clues. I don't want to be accused of cheating or helping the opposition there. But
actually named 2 tonight.
Yeah,
I've named 2 more, have I?
Yeah.
Christ.
So you've named 4 so far. You've done Carlton Palmer, Alman Abdi, Forestieri, Daniel Pudil.
So it must be someone that's in the current squad at the moment. If I've
couldn't possibly say, James.
Do you know what? I have absolutely no idea. I've no idea.
4
George Byers.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
George Byers, he played for Watford.
There's 4 put in 5 put in top though at the moment, doesn't it? Then
it's two clear already.
But I'll quit whilst I'm ahead and not make myself look silly. Go on, who's the other one then that I've mentioned already? That's played for
Ashley Fletcher.
Oh crap! How have I? Do you know what? He's that bad that I forget that he's actually a Sheffield Wednesday player. He is awful. He is so bad. That could have been 6. That couldn't be. Oh well,
that could have been. You probably would have had one hand on the title there.
How many is there that's played for both then?
So I've only gone back to the early 2000s, and I found about 10 or 11. So the other players are Lewis McGugan.
Yeah, he was good. He's got a fantastic goal from nearly the halfway line for us. I can't remember who we were playing, but yeah, go on. Who else?
Will Buckley.
All right, okay, yeah, he's on loan from
Martin Taylor.
Yeah,
great player.
And Lee Bromby.
Lee Bromby, yeah. There's actually Patrick Blondeau. He was in the 90s.
That's
Ashraf Lazar.
Oh my God! Don't talk about Lazar.
We had him on loan.
He had a stinker at Luton away in lockdown season. He passed the ball back to Backman, and Backman had no other choice but to come out and take out the Luton striker. But it was such a hospital pass.
Yeah, he only played 4. He played 4 games for us in 2018 on loan from Newcastle. Looks like he played a few after that, but that's all of them. That is all of them. We've named all of them there.
There we go.
Yeah,
you're top of the table, though, James.
Well, look at that. You see, the club's at the bottom. I'm at the top. So.
No, I think Do Not Scratch Your Eyes have definitely helped you out there. I think they'll probably claim half of that trophy when we hand it over at the end of the season. But yeah, thank you so much tonight, James, for joining us. Problem. I really appreciate it. So you're from the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. Where can people find you, James?
Yeah, so we're on all major podcasting platforms. Just search for the Wednesday.Till.I.D podcast at W.T.I.D Pod on Twitter. We're quite active on there, and yeah, we record every Sunday night. It goes out Monday morning. So yeah, if we win, lose or draw, you can listen to us either gloating or whinging and moaning, one of the two, depending on what the results are going to be at the weekend.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. And best of luck for the rest of the season, other than the game on Saturday.
Of course. And likewise. Cheers, Ben. Cheers, Mike.
No worries,
Brilliant.
mate.
Cheers, James. Take care.
No worries.
Mike, that was brilliant to get James on. Fantastic guy. Did really well in the play for both. He did get that helping hand from Do Not Scratch Your Eyes, didn't he? Which is a little frustrating, but I can't believe he forgot two of the people he named.
I can't believe he forgot Ashley Fletcher, slagging him off from the start of the show. But he did. He found some others that we didn't find. So
yeah,
he evened it out, I suppose. But
yeah,
Lazar, Jesus, less said the better.
100%. So yeah, that's our preview for the Sheffield Wednesday game. We just wanted to talk about a couple of things quickly before we wrap up the podcast. Mike, Fan Hub's something that we helped when they first started up a couple of seasons ago now, I think. So they're an app on iPhones, Androids, and all that. Do you want to take the floor? You know a lot more than me.
Yeah. So Ben's right. When Fan Hub first started, it was in lockdown, and it was sort of the back end of lockdown, and it's basically an app which, like Ben said, you can get on the App Store on the iPhone or on the Android App Store, and it's a mobile phone app, and they basically want to help they want to reward fans, because they basically feel that fans are taking the mick out of a little bit, with all the pricing of football and the constant changing of kickoff times. And, James mentioned it there. Sheffield Wednesday got Plymouth on a Wednesday night. Like, who the fuck's deciding that? Like, it's a joke. So, they want to reward fans for the loyalty, because there's no doubt that Sheffield Wednesday will probably take near enough a sellout crowd down to Plymouth on a Wednesday night. And, any fan that makes that journey, we had, 500 people that made the journey up to Sunderland on the other Wednesday night. That was superb. Me and Ben are going to Swansea on Tuesday. I think it's going to take me around about 4.5 hours, probably similar, maybe just under for Ben. Why are we doing it? I don't know. But yeah, I'm monologuing now. So the Fan Hub app is brilliant. So we're on it. So what you do is you go onto the Apple Store or the Android, depending on what phone you've got. Type in Fan Hub, click download, create an account. Now, when you create an account, you will be put into a waiting list, because the app is that popular. There is a waiting list. However, if you're watching on YouTube, this code on the screen will get you a golden ticket. So you enter that code, it will recognize that we have referred you, and you will get straight into the app, and you can start using it at your free will. For those that are listening on the podcast, the code is L for Lima, K for Kilo, N for November, P for Papa, R for Romeo, and X for X-ray. So LKNPRX. You enter that code. We'll put it out on socials as well. So if you didn't quite catch that code, you'll be able to see it there. If you download the app, register, and type in that code, just click at the bottom, I've got a golden ticket, enter that code, and you'll be straight in. You can do brilliant things on there. You can check in to the games when you're at the stadium, and it will calculate how many miles you've travelled over the season. They're doing brilliant things at the moment for rewarding fans. So if you can guess the starting 11. I think the deadline is obviously an hour before, because that's when the teams are named. But you can guess the starting 11 right up until an hour before kickoff. If you get 11 out of 11 and you finish top of your leaderboards, you can win prizes such as 3 points at certain chain pubs, mainly Green King, I think they're in partnership with. They're also doing as well recently, depending on the leaderboards, you can win an away day. So basically, you buy the ticket and they'll send you the money back and then some extra on top to get a few beers or whatever it is you want to get. And they did a brilliant thing recently where the leaderboards, they picked people at random, I believe, and you actually win back the money that you paid for your season ticket, which is absolutely crazy. You just send them the receipt, obviously, to show that you've bought the season ticket, and you get that money back. And it's all to do with leaderboards. Always prizes to get the keep the fans interested and to keep it interesting as well, because everyone's got an app where you can just go on and rant about football, but this is purely football. I don't know about anyone else, but at the moment on X, the amount of notifications I'm getting where these bots are liking all these things and I'm getting replies, click here to profile launch and all this, and it's doing my head in. Whereas this, you go on and you're seeing other Watford fans talk about the game, and you're also able to get our podcast on there as well. So there's a separate bit, which is your dashboard and your feed screen. And if you click content, you'll see our podcasts on there. So even if you use Spotify, Apple, whatever you use, our podcasts are on there as well. So yeah, make sure you go and download the FanHub app and use that golden ticket code. And if you've got mates that are on the app as well that are in the waiting list, feel free to use that code. We'll be putting it out on our social media. And download the app, and we'll be using it more in videos. And hopefully, with match day vlogs as well, we'll be able to put up the teams that we predicted. We'll be putting our team predictions on Twitter as well and encouraging you guys to get involved. And honestly, like, some of the prizes they've got coming up are wicked. Like, I wish we were able to win some of these prizes. So yeah, definitely make sure you download that.
Yeah, no, well said, Mike. I think you've sold it to everyone, so hopefully everyone will start signing up for it. And like Mike said, the golden ticket code as well, we're going to put it on our social media pages so you can see it and you can join and skip that waiting list to get onto the app. But also, just before we wrap it up as well, we've got a special announcement about this weekend's podcast. How have you forgotten about it? We've been speaking about it the last couple of weeks and organising it all. So me and Mike started the Voices of the Vic podcast, I don't know how many years ago now, 3 years ago, 3 and a bit.
4 years ago, 20... And yeah, I think so. Sorry, yeah.
It was a couple of months before my daughter was born, and she's 3 and a couple of months. So it's probably about 3.5 months now.
June 2020, the first one come out, because I was listening to it the other day. So yeah, 3 years.
About 3.5 years ago. So we started this together 3.5 years ago. Me and Mike have never recorded a podcast face to face. It's all been done through Zoom, StreamYard, maybe phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
But that all stops on Saturday. We are actually going to do a face-to-face live podcast for the very first time in a pub.
Oh, yes.
Which we will broadcast for you all to watch. It might not be a live podcast, but we're going to record it and then maybe stream it half an hour after, just to make sure that we got everything all working in the right areas, like the equipment and that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to announce where we're recording it yet. We'll probably announce it after we've recorded it, saying thank you very much to this place for hosting us, but they very kindly said we can have an area in their pub. They're reserving a table for us. Thank you very much to them, and we're going to plug them during the live podcast next week. But Mike doesn't come down much to Watford games, but when he does, we're looking to maybe do this more regularly. Just two mates having a beer after the game, talking about the match. That's what this podcast was brought out for during lockdown, and now we're actually going to be able to do it face to face over a pint in a pub. Can't get better than that, Mike.
No, mate, I'm absolutely buzzing. We bought some proper equipment as well, so we're going to have to be a little bit professional, which is a little bit out of my comfort zone. But no, mate, I'm buzzing, man. Like you said, this is what we want this podcast to be. almost as if it's two lads having a chat about the football over a pint, and it physically will be that on Saturday.
Yeah.
And you know, we're trying to do stuff with the midweek games as well. Me and Ben obviously going, as we mentioned, to Swansea. I'm stopping over, so the plan is that I'm going to take my laptop with me, and as soon as I'm back at the hotel, we're going to come on come on Facebook and YouTube Live, and then Ben's going to join in the car like he did for the West Brom game, and we're just going to talk it out, win, lose or draw. So the content we're hoping will get better, and we've got some proper equipment now. So should, you know, either of us go to games, or if we go to a game again together, we can deliver some real quality content, and we're always looking at ways that we can improve. But I'm absolutely buzzing, mate. It's going to be good, and yeah, you know, who knows? Maybe one day we won't have to do a podcast in a pub in front of a camera. Maybe we can follow in the footsteps of From the Rookery End and W.D.I.D and do a live podcast with an audience. Who knows? But yeah, man, I'm proper buzzing. And if you see us around on Saturday, you know, say hello, man. We love when people say hello to us. It's fucking mad. Like, we started this as, let's just start a podcast, and people come up to you and be like, "Oh, we listen to the pod, and we fucking love it, man. It's great." And you know, it's nice to know that people do listen. But yeah, grab us and we'll grab a beer or something. We'll be in Walkabout later on in the evening. So if you're about and kicking about, come and grab us, and we'll grab a beer together and we'll chat about the game and everything else. But yeah, man, I'm proper buzzing, Ben.
Yeah, same. Likewise. I can't wait for it. Probably be a little bit nervous. It comes Saturday, doing it in a pub, and potentially
you'll be a eat.
Yeah, that's it. Just a couple of Jaeger bombs and we'll be fine. But yeah, no Jaeger bombs will be involved in this recording of the podcast. Not at the start, anyway. Maybe towards the end, when the waiters comes over and we'll be like, 2 more, please. But yeah, no, looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to everyone watching or listening to it. So we're doing a audio and visual for the podcast for a review of the Sheffield Wednesday game. So you can either listen to it or you can watch us on YouTube. But yeah, we'll wrap us up there. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know it's been an extra long one, but we've had so much to fit in. We've had the Sheffield Wednesday preview. We've spoke about the Fan Hub app and also our special podcast at the weekend. So appreciate everyone joining us tonight, watching. If you do like the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well on YouTube. Or if you if you listen through your podcast providers like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, hit the notifications on there as well, so you get updated for when we do go live, when it's available to listen. But yeah, thank you very much for watching tonight, and we'll be back Saturday evening with a podcast. So stay safe, everyone, and come on, you Wards.